Apologies for the truly awful video quality and lighting. It's either really dark or I just get totally washed out and I don't seem to be able to control it whatsoever because I'm currently recording this on my phone. I don't yet. I'm here in Edinburgh, as you might be able to see. I'm in a totally different room. This is my bedroom, which I chose because it's slightly brighter than the living room. And I don't yet have Wi-Fi in my apartment, so all I have is data on my phone, and I discovered that actually my phone uploads videos fairly well onto YouTube, and so despite the fact that this is going to be, like I say, a terrible quality video, I thought I'd just make a quick video and upload it just to kind of say hi and maybe just let you know what's going on with me and let you know what's going on with my college course, because of course I'm studying religious studies, so what I'm doing in college will actually be of interest to you guys probably. So yeah, I did actually record a video a few days after I arrived here on my proper fancy camera, but you know, I've no idea at what point I'll actually be able to upload that video because, you know, it's going to take a while. I haven't even figured out what internet I'm getting, how I'm going to do it, how I'm going to figure it out. So that's just going to take at least another week or maybe more. So just as a brief sort of introduction to what I'm doing now, obviously I'm living in Edinburgh, which you probably should know by now if you've been watching the channel for a while. I've moved here for a year to do an MSc in religious studies. So that's it's technically a Master of Science. It's kind of like a Master of Social Science, but that department is within the School of Divinity. So I'll be taking classes alongside theologians, people who are doing, you know, theology, history of theology, history of religions, and religion and science and all sorts of other things like that. So it's a wonderful little department, and so far I'm actually having a really wonderful time. I've met some really wonderful people already, and actually it has far exceeded my expectations, even my highest expectation so far, in terms of the friendliness of everybody and how well I'm getting along with everyone, and how much that even people who are studying kind of Christian theology and things like that, you know, there are people who on the outset, I might think from hearing about what their PhD dissertation is going to be on, or you know what they're interested in studying in their masters. Initially, I would kind of think that I wouldn't have much in common with them, but once we actually start to have a conversation and you know I tell them what my interests are and we talk a little bit, more often than not, we will be able to find, you know, some element of our research interests that kind of merges that we both find exciting, which is really, really cool. So it's going to be really interesting to be surrounded by people who are studying Christianity or Islam or Hinduism and all these different kind of aspects of religion and religious practice. Now, most people will be kind of more concerned with world religions, with major world religions. A couple of people are interested in sort of fringe movements, new religious movements, but mostly, you know, there's only a couple of us really who are interested in those kind of things. But yeah, it's going to be a really, really interesting year. So yeah, I'm doing a Master's in Religious Studies, as I said. So this basically means that I'll be taking some modules for the first kind of slightly more than 6 months of the year, and then after that I'll be writing a short dissertation. So some of my modules are kind of research oriented, kind of teaching research skills within kind of religious studies. But then I have I choose a couple of modules myself, which are supposed to kind of aim me towards what I'm interested in and kind of start focusing on my dissertation. So I'm lucky enough that here in Edinburgh, they offer a module on New Age spirituality, which is not exactly what I'm interested in. It's kind of, you know, it's just slightly, it's not exactly paganism, but it's closer to anything that I've ever come across in certainly in any other UK university. You wouldn't find a module that would be so close to kind of paganism and the kind of stuff that, you know, you guys are probably interested in. So that's going to be great. That's in the second semester. And then apart from that, I'm also going to be taking a module, I hope, I'm still, you know, my course director is still kind of setting up my modules and getting everything sorted out for me, but I'm hopefully also in the second semester going to be taking a module within Scottish ethnology which it's going to be looking at kind of Celtic studies rather than just Scottish studies. It's going to be looking at customs, beliefs, traditions and community, that kind of thing. So it'll be looking at rituals, and it looks like it's going to be a really, really interesting module. It's going to be looking at focusing on Scotland and Ireland, but also comparing with other Celtic communities. So that's a really interesting one, and that's, like I say, it's outside of my actual department or school. It's in another department, so it's going to be interesting to kind of get a different perspective. It's not overtly looking at religion, but kind of close. It'll definitely be touching on that kind of thing. So I think that'll be interesting for me, kind of for looking at paganism, looking at Irish paganism, looking at Irish deities and cultures and practices, and even just paganism as a whole, because it's kind of arisen out of the early kind of pre-Wicca movements. The Wheel of the Year and all of that kind of stuff, it is hugely based on Irish and other kind of British and Scottish festivals and traditions. So doing a module that looks at some of that will be very interesting, and from that perspective that I'm kind of getting a bit more of a anthropological, historical take on some of the stuff that has really informed a lot of the modern pagan movement. So that's going to be really cool. And then in the first semester I'm going to be doing a module on theories of religion, which most of you probably not interested unless you're kind of academically inclined. It's probably not going to be of huge amount of interest to you guys. But then I'm going to be doing another module on the Enlightenment, and I'm mostly looking at Christianity, religion and the Enlightenment, and kind of how religion was changed through the Enlightenment, the progress, how it's informed religion in the modern world and that kind of thing. And this is actually something, although it's going to be mostly focusing on Christianity and how Christianity was shaped and changed and how it was affected by the Enlightenment and moving onwards from the Enlightenment. And there is going to be a lot of stuff in there that will be of interest to me, because there's going to be pantheistic thought, romanticism, and the disenchantment of nature that came about with the rise of scientific thought and the Enlightenment and all that kind of thing. So that's actually something that's really close to my heart as well. So while all of that module won't necessarily be coming at things from my perspective, I think there will be a lot in that will be very interesting to me. So I'm also already thinking about what I'm going to be doing for my thesis, and I think I'm actually going to look at the Morrigan and the cult of the Morrigan, perhaps specifically outside of Ireland, maybe even specifically in the United States, but it depends on what kind of ethnographical research I need to do, like if I need to do field work on the ground. So then it might have to be, within Scotland or the UK. But that's kind of what I'm looking at right now. And I think initially I thought that was maybe a bit too specific, which is weird, because obviously a master's thesis is very short and it has to be super specific. I mean, way more specific than I'm even going to be telling you right now. But I think I just thought that maybe it was a bit too close to home for me, and that, looking at something like about the Morrigan, studying the worship of the Morrigan in an academic context might be a bit strange, or that I might be a bit biased or something. But I'm moving more towards that now. I'm moving more towards feeling that actually my personal interest will probably just spur my academic research, and because I'm not a hard polytheist, I think it'll be a little easier for me to kind of step away from my personal investment in her, and to be able to kind of be relatively neutral and relatively academic about the whole thing. So that should be fascinating if I do get a chance to do that. But it's all obviously very early days. I haven't even started taking courses yet. This is just the end of Freshers Week. So yeah, for some of you that's probably been really, really boring and I'm sorry about that, but I'm telling you this now because I think that what's probably going to happen during this year is that I will continue to make the kinds of videos that I've been making up until now, but there will definitely be a lot of overlap between what I'm studying in college, what I'm thinking about, what I'm reading, and what I'm talking to you about on the channel. And obviously I'm not going to come here and talk to you as if you're academics, because I know that most of you aren't, but I'll definitely be interested in sharing some of the thoughts that are coming up for me while I'm reading, and it might be interesting for you guys to start getting a bit of an academic perspective maybe on issues that I've talked about before, and all that kind of thing. So yeah, you can definitely expect to hear some stuff in the coming year on the channel that is inspired by the modules that I'm taking and what I'm learning, what I'm reading, and that kind of thing. So those kind of modules, it gives you an idea of the learning that I'm going to be doing during the year, and also what I might be focusing on for my dissertation, and what kind of stuff might come up for that. So I still don't know obviously what kind of angle I'm going to take on looking at the Morrigan and the cult of the Morrigan. There are quite a lot of different angles, obviously, that I could take with that. So that'll just kind of remain to be seen. I'm very interested in tying it in maybe with feminist theology, something like that. Maybe a bit of Jungian thought, stuff like that. We'll see what happens, and I'm sure it'll change as I do the modules and as I read and learn more, because this is the first time that I'm really immersing myself in kind of theological or religious academia. So yeah, I think that's probably about it. Just as a kind of personal update to let you know how I'm doing. Spiritually, I'm not really doing right now, to be perfectly honest with you. I haven't even fully set up my altar yet. I haven't meditated since I got here. I haven't done yoga since I got here. I haven't done a single spiritual thing since I got here, and it's just because this week has been so crazy that I don't have kind of a schedule yet. I don't have a pattern of living, and there's just so much stuff on. There are things on in the evening, during the day, and when I get home I often kind of have an email waiting from my supervisor, from my course director, about my modules, and then I have to go and look at that, and it's just, suddenly it's 9:30 at night and I'm ready to just crash in bed. So far that hasn't really been happening, but I have a feeling that the space that I'm in here in Edinburgh is really going to inform the feel of my spirituality, and that's something that I'm interested in, because obviously my spirituality has always been rooted in Dublin. Even though I moved out from my parents' house and I was going between the two houses, it was still in Dublin. It's still in the same kind of space, whereas Edinburgh is obviously a very different city, a very different kind of feel to it. It has a very, very historical feel to. I mean, obviously Dublin is a very historical city too, but Edinburgh feels older. You feel more immediately connected to the older, really old history in Edinburgh, because so much of the old architecture is left intact, and the castle and everything, so that's going to be really interesting. There are lots of crows, especially around the area that I live in. Actually, it's particularly just full of crows. There's a park that I've been going up and running in, and I would like to show you that in this video. Like, I wish I could pause it and then add to it at the end, but I just don't think I'm going to be able to do that. So at some point, maybe when I've got my laptop connected to the internet again, I might be able to edit together some snippets of the city for you into a bit of a kind of vlog kind of video. I'm hoping to be able to do that. So I might start making videos on my phone, and then I can edit them together at a later date for you guys, because I'd love to show you Inverleith Park, which is where I go running, and theoretically we'll be going walking there as well. But so far, anytime I'm walking, I'm just walking in and out of university, because it's in and out all day. But that will all calm down. I'm going to have 4 classes a week, and then I'll be going in to read, and I'll settle into a routine, and hopefully settle into a video routine as well, so that I'm making a video, if not every week, then at least every other week kind of thing. So yeah, I'm really missing my spirituality, my spiritual practice, but this week and just settling into Edinburgh has just been so much it hasn't felt like real life. It's kind of a transition period. There's no routine, like I say. There's no kind of, I'm just exploring what my new life is going to be, and I feel like I'm not ready to set. I feel like, once I have a daily practice, that'll be me settling into my life here, and that's just not quite ready to happen yet. So Monday at the latest, I'm just going to start giving myself a schedule. I'm actually going to give myself a time in the evening and set an alarm for me to sit down in front of that altar and meditate. Whether or not it's finished being set up, it's my shrine to the Moregan that I haven't quite finished setting up yet, because I'm not sure what I'm doing with it, but the rest of it is actually together. So I'll show you that, I promise, maybe in that vlog video that I'm promising you. And I think that's probably about it. I mean, so far in terms of personal. Oh, one more thing that I should mention, because I said this in the video that I made the other day, but obviously that's going to be going up after this video, and that is that I am theoretically taking part in Self-Love September, Kellyanne of the Four Queens Self-Love September. I am taking part in Sounds and Sessions, and so far since I got here, I haven't actually had a chance to listen to any more of the podcasts or watch any more of the videos, and I made an executive decision just after I got here that September isn't going to be the self-love month for me this year. It's going to be October, because I just don't have the time to devote to it this month. It's just not going to happen, and I didn't want to feel like I was being, putting pressure on myself, or that I was going to miss out. So I just decided it's going to be Self-Love October for Anya this year. That's how it's going to work. So I have listened to some of the material And I will probably listen to more as the month goes on, just a first run through. But once October hits, from the 1st of October, I'm going to be full on self-love October. I'm going to be, you know, putting dates in my calendar for going through the material again and getting into a journaling habit.